Hello and welcome. Welcome to the Little Likac podcast, episode 75. My name is Amanda and I'm coming to you today from Derby in the United Kingdom. Today is August the 6th. It is actually turned out to be quite a nice sunny day. It's been very warm and muggy the last couple of days, not particularly sunny but just muggy, and then last night we had some rain and we had some thunder and a bit of a storm, and it seems to have cleared the air and it's actually really quite lovely out there. So yes, I have got 4 finished objects to show you, quite a few new cast-ons to show you, a little bit of acquisitions that I had forgotten to show you, some works in progress. So yeah, quite a bit to go through today. We also have 2 winners to draw because I'd missed a bit of podcasting at some point in the year. We have not drawn the prize yet for the Socksy and You Know It April winner, so we are going to do that today, as well as the June winner. So there will be 2 winners pulled out today. I haven't got my phone with me because that is currently updating, so I've got the computer next to me here, so I will have to turn and double check things on the computer rather than on my phone, but yeah, hopefully it'll all go fine. So yes, shall we do the winners first? Tell you what, let's do 1 winning draw now. We'll do the April one now, and then we will do the June one a little bit later. So yes, the Socksy and You Know It Cal, if you aren't aware of that, it is a knit along that I am running all year. Knit or crochet, you could crochet a pair of socks. It is for a full adult pair of socks. Well, when I say full adult, they can be shorty socks, but they do need to be adult size. And basically knit or crochet a pair of socks, and you can enter them to win prizes on Ravelry. If for whatever reason you can't use Ravelry, you can email me a picture of your finished socks and I will add that into the Ravelry thread for you. I am up to date with everything up to the end of June. I think a couple of people have sent me some July entries that I do need to add into Ravelry, but we will be drawing the July prizes at the end of August. So that's how it works. You have 2 months to knit a pair of socks. So if you've got a pair of socks that you started in July, you can still add that into the July Ravelry thread. So we have a Little Likac podcast group on Ravelry. I usually link that below. And then if you've started a pair of socks in August, that will go into the August thread, which I don't think I've actually set up yet. So we will get that set up, the August finished objects thread. And yes, that will be drawn at the end of September. So you always have 2 months to enter your socks. So let's do that first. Now, also what I have done is, if you are a UK winner, you get sent some yarn, sock yarn, usually from my stash, because the whole point of the Socksy and You Know It make along is a way of trying to use up some of our stash. That's what I did last autumn. I went through and picked out 12 balls of sock yarn, commercial sock yarn, all self-striping, that I wanted to knit with this year. So I will have got through 12 balls of my sock yarn this year. And what else was I going to say? You don't have to use self-striping, you know, it can be any pair of socks and you can be double dipping, that's fine. So yes, but I'm also then giving away some of my sock stash as well, sock yarn stash as well. However, due to the cost of postage, if you are an international winner, then you can have a sock pattern up to, I think we said £7.50. So yes, if you win a prize from me and you are, I'm just changing position slightly, and you're an international viewer, then yes, it will be a pattern prize rather than sending yarn, because it's just expensive. So the winning, I've been trying to give this one away for a few months now, since the start. Okay, anyway, the April winner, if you are a UK entry, the April winner will be receiving this Drops a Fable sock yarn. That is for the April winner. So let's draw the April winner. So let me just double check. We've got the April finished objects thread open on my computer. There are 52 entries to that. So let's ask the smart speaker for a winning number. choose a number between 1 and 52.
Here's a number between 1 and 52. It's 41.
41. So we'll go to 41. It's going to be on the second page. And that is Big D. And oh my gosh, they are an amazing pair of socks. It says finish some socks out of stash yarn. I don't know what yarn it is. They look fabulous. I'm just going to go on to Big D's Ravelry page and see if it says. Oh yes, Knitty and Colour Hardcore Socks. That is the name of the sock yarn that she's used. I don't know where they're from. And let me see if I can see where Big D is from. Big D, are you UK? No, she's Missouri. Okay, she's in the US. Okay, so Big D then, if you want to get in touch with me and send me the link, preferably on Ravelry. I can see you are a Ravelry user. I can gift that to you on Ravelry. If you want one of my sock patterns, of course, that's absolutely fine. I have 3 sock patterns. Or if you want sock pattern from somebody else, up to £7.50, which is probably about $9, something like that. Message me and I will gift that to you. Okay, so we still have this one to give away. Let's hope when I draw the June prize, it may be a UK winner when it goes to then. Not that I don't mean that to sound like I want it to be a UK winner, only because I have been trying to give this one away since the beginning of the year. I think I may have already said this. If I haven't, I am now up to date with sending all the other prizes. So the winner of the prize is from the May, and I think I was so far behind. I think it was March. They've all been posted out. So that was one to Australia and one to the UK. And yeah, okay. So I have got finished objects to show you, haven't I? So shall we start with what I'm wearing? Let's start with what I am wearing. Look at this, isn't it absolutely gorgeous? So this is the Everyday Tee by Twin Stitches Design. This was actually a really quick knit. I think on my Ravelry page it looks like it took me 3 or 4 weeks to make, but I'm feeling I started on it, then it got left for a couple of weeks, and then I've been working on it because I have discovered, and why it's taken me this long to discover this I don't know, but I can knit and read. I can knit and read. So once basically I'd got past the sleeves on this and got past the lace, it was just going round and round in stocking stitch. And I think the thing is with the knitting and reading is I do traditionally like reading from books, but reading from books and knitting doesn't work. And I've kind of been a bit anti-Kindle, even though I don't think I've kind of would have said I was anti-Kindle. I have been a bit anti-Kindle. But my husband wanted to buy a new Kindle, his old one, the batteries runs out on it a bit quickly, etc. And I said, well, can I borrow your Kindle, your old Kindle for a bit and see how I get on with knitting and reading the Kindle? And he was like, yeah, of course you can. And what I've actually done is I've got like a stand, which means so I'm not having to hold the Kindle, but I was trying to before, I think I was trying to kind of lean it up against something and nothing was quite. Anyway, I've now got this funky stand, which basically means that I can have the Kindle kind of like there in front of me, and I just have to press it to turn the page and I can knit. So anything stocking stitch, socks or the bodies of jumpers, whatever, I can sit and knit and read at the same time. And oh my gosh, I've got through about 4 books in the last week. I mean, it does help that I'm off work at the moment as well. I've got through about 4 books and I've knitted a lot of stocking stitch stuff. So it's just a real game changer for me because the reading side of things has really gone down the last few years as my knitting has increased. I do listen to audiobooks, and I used to listen to a lot of audiobooks when I did a lot of running. I actually ran the London Marathon back in 2019, and when I was training for that I was going out running for 4 or 5 hours at a time, which meant I was listening to a lot of audiobooks. And I listen to audiobooks in the car as well quite often, but now I can read and knit at the same time, and I just don't know why it's taken me so long to give in to having a Kindle. I think it's, and I think there will still be some books that I read in paperback form. Anyway, so right, so yes, a lot of this got knitted while I was reading. I'll post some pictures up here where you can see the full length of this, but this took less than 200 grams of 4-ply fingering weight yarn. And it's not my own, it is Rosarios Merian, something like that. Again, I'll try and put the details below. And I bought 4 balls of this, which was about 880 metres, and I was like, oh, I hope this is going to be enough. And I did size medium because it's on quite a big gauge, and when I blocked it out, it fits absolutely fine. I mean, I've not got negative ease. I would say it's about 0 ease. I really like it. And as I mentioned last time, I'm trying to lose a little bit of weight as well. So if I do lose a little bit of weight, because this at the moment has no positive ease, if I do lose a little bit of weight, it will just have a little bit of positive ease to it. But I'm really, really pleased with it. Love the colours. I tell you what was interesting though, when I blocked it and I put it into soak, there was quite a lot of dye came out. The water was quite bluey green. But yes, I really, really love it. I want to say I would knit this again, because I would knit this again. The only thing that would stop me knitting it again is that, generally speaking, I don't tend to knit the same pattern more than once. I find something else and knit it, and find something else and knit it. So, but I would. There's no reason why I wouldn't knit this again. It was a quick knit. The lace work was actually really quite straightforward, and yeah, I really like it. I can see why she called it the everyday tee. You can just wear it every day. So that's my first finished project. And I went to put that on my spreadsheet. I was like, yay, that's like, oh, I don't know, what was it, about 730 metres, something like that. Like I say, less than, to do this in my size, and I'm not the slimmest of people, you could do this, I'm about a size 14 to 16. And anyway, you could do this in less than 2 skeins of 100 gram of 4-ply fingering weight. But when I went to put that in my spreadsheet, I was like, oh, brilliant, I only bought this a couple of months ago, it's coming straight back out. Apart from I'd forgotten to put it in the first place. So I thought I was taking 700 odd metres out. I wasn't, because I'd bought 880 metres, I'd only used 700 and something metres, so it actually added about 100 metres or however. Then I was looking at my spreadsheet thinking, I'm not sure if these numbers are adding up right. And sure enough, where I had bought more yarn, I had added it into my spreadsheet, but the formula I had used wasn't adding them all in. So I changed that, and bang, suddenly I had gone from being only a few 100 metres over, I haven't explained what I'm talking about this spreadsheet, I'll explain in a minute. I'd gone from only being a few 100 metres over to suddenly about 3,000 metres over again. What am I talking about? I'm talking about my stash busting. Stash busting is probably a little bit generous. Stash using project this year, where I was trying to make sure that I have a negative balance on my stash at the end of the year. Basically, I'm keeping track of all the yarn I am knitting and also crocheting, and keeping track of everything I'm buying. And the idea is that by the end of the year, I will have used or got out of my stash more than I have put in. And I had been doing quite well, but if you see the episode before this, episode 74, where it said about buying 50 balls of yarn, then you'll know that it all went horribly wrong around June time. So I thought, I'm nearly back down to 0 here, and I'm actually not, because my formula didn't have all the cells in it. And if you know spreadsheets, you'll understand what that means. But basically, yes, I've been typing in what I had added to my stash, but it wasn't calculating it. And so suddenly I'm back to about 3,000 metres bought more than I've used. I gave away a little bit of the leftovers of the glittery Whitmore sweater that I'd finished. I had about 4 balls of wool left. I've kept one of the part balls for using for like worry worms or whatever, and then the other 3 balls that were full in a packet has gone to the charity shop. I sent a 100 gram skein to our winner Dorothy last month, so I've added all of those, as in those have gone out. But I feel like, oh, and yes, I gave 2,000 metres of cotton to my daughter Eloise, who is busy crocheting a really lovely dress at the moment. So yeah, that was it. When I took that 2,000 meters out, it took that 2,000 meters out, and I was like, yes, that's taken me down to about you know, getting close to 0. But yes, it was calculating what was coming out fine, but it wasn't calculating what was coming in. So thank goodness I gave that 2,000 meters away. Anyway, 15 minutes in and I've only showed you one finished object. Right, okay, the other finished objects, I've got 3 other finished objects. So the last podcast, which was just over 2 weeks ago, I said that I had got 3 pairs of socks on the needles, and I was setting myself a challenge of finishing all 3 pairs of those socks in the space of about a week. Yes, I did. I did that. I completed all 3 pairs of those socks. So let me show you those. To be fair, 2 of the pairs were, I was on the 2nd sock, and then the 3rd pair I was only about halfway down the 1st sock. Anyway, so this was the oldest pair. Ta-da! And these were the Prism socks, Prism, and these are actually for my daughter Eloise, and she has been nagging at me saying, when can I have those socks? I said, after I've shown them on the podcast. So this was using West Yorkshire spinners in Penny Royal signature 4-ply, and then the striped yarn was one from Sostrene Grene. They probably need blocking, but to be fair, when Eloise wears them, that'll block them anyway, won't it? So yeah, she's been desperate for these. She's been because in fact actually a pair that I had knitted her a while ago, I think I knitted them in the first lockdown, so 2020, she has worn through that. So yeah, so she can have these now, and there is a stitch marker. I think this is where I was up to when you last saw these, just over 2 weeks ago. I think that's right. So I'd done the 1st sock and was down to here on the 2nd. Would that be right? Don't know, I feel like I'd actually turned the heel on them. Anyway, maybe not. These were also a project that I started back in January as part of the 12 Cast Ons of Christmas. So that's another one of those projects completed as well. So I will be gifting these to Eloise tonight when she comes home from work. Talking of Eloise, actually, some of you may have seen I did pop on my Instagram stories. We went to her graduation last weekend. Very proud mum moment. I'm just taking these blockers out of these socks because I've got 3 pairs of socks to show you and I don't have 3 pairs of blockers. Okay, so that's 1 pair of socks to go to my daughter. Right, the 2nd pair of socks I had were just a pair of vanilla socks. These were my car socks. This was a project that I kept in the car, and whenever I went anywhere where I was waiting around, or maybe going to Knit and Natter or stopping at a cafe, I always had these socks with me that I could work on. And they are finished. So these are knitted in Stylecraft Head over Heels. Can't remember the colourway number. Not sure where the bag is. I can't move because I've got stuff all over the floor around me. Anyway, I will try and put up details. So yeah, these are just vanilla socks. So again, when I podcasted just over a couple of weeks ago, I had finished the 1st sock and was here on the 2nd sock. As you can see there, obviously then these are both finished. So these are just for me and will go in my sock drawer. 64 stitches, 2x2 rib, and then heel flap and gusset. They were knitted on 2.25mm needles, 64 stitches, which is my standard vanilla sock recipe for me. Okay, so, oh, I don't need to take those ones off yet, actually. So yeah, really pretty, and they can go in my sock drawer. Right, the 3rd pair of socks were the Socksy and You Know It socks for July. I had specifically picked out a couple of Christmas colourways, and said to my husband, can you wrap one of these or put the sticker on one of these, number 7 for July and number 12 for December. And I couldn't remember, well actually I could remember that I had put this yarn in, but I couldn't remember what the other Christmas yarn is. So actually I have no idea at the moment what the December yarn will be. But here we go, I can show you. So I knitted one of these pairs for Christmas in July. And when you saw these last, oh, I always get itchy ear, sorry. When you saw these last, then I was still on the first sock, and I was down to here on the first sock. So I had all of that to do and the whole of the second sock to do on this one, and yes, of course, they got done, they got finished. Ooh. So these are also Stylecraft Head over Heels, and I was using Rudolph as the contrast. Words. So they yes, Rudolph for the heels, no, cuffs, heels and toes, and then I think this one's called Comet, and it is very, very sparkly. I have to say, a little bit more scratchy than I would like, but they will be fine for a funky pair of Christmas socks. Oh, and what was actually really funny was, so I mentioned about Eloise's graduation. These came with me to her graduation. So I knitted on them in the car on the way up to her graduation. And then when I graduated many, many years ago, the graduation ceremonies were really long. And I said to Eloise, and she'd said, oh, we need to be in our seats 45 minutes before it starts, blah, 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 blah. So I said something about taking the socks with me. And she was going, are you going to be knitting during my graduation ceremony? I said, no. I said, I will be knitting, possibly be knitting while we're waiting for it to start. I said, and then I said, to be fair, if it's half an hour of names being read out, you never know, I may be knitting them. But actually, Eloise's ceremony was a very small ceremony, and it wasn't very long, and there weren't that very many people in there, so I didn't knit during the ceremony at all. However, afterwards we met some of her course mates and some of their parents, and we got chatting, and somehow the conversation with another mother came up that she's like knitting and crocheting. And I said, yes, I do too. And Eloise and her friend were laughing. And then her mum said, oh, I know it might sound funny, but I really like to crochet in the car. And I laughed. I said, that does not sound funny at all. And actually in my handbag, I had the project bag with these socks in, and I took those out and showed her. And she was like, oh my goodness. And her daughter was kind of like, oh, one step further than you, Mum. She's even carrying hers around in her handbag with her. So that was just so funny. So yes, anyway, Christmas socks, Socksy and You Know It make along. They are going to go into the box that I have got. So all my Socksy and You Know It socks I am not wearing till next year. That's the plan. Okay, so I finished that 3 pairs of socks, and I've now cast on another 3 pairs, which I'll show you in a minute, because this seems like a good time to do the second draw. So we are drawing again. This time we are drawing from the June thread. So let me go and find the June thread. June finished objects thread, and we have some lovely socks on here. How many do we have? 54. Okay, 54 pairs of finished socks. Alright, and so choose number between 1 and 54.
Here's a number between 1 and 54. It's 23.
23, okay, so I think that will be around page 2. Okay, so I just had a senior moment then. I couldn't remember which number Alexa had said. So it was 23, as you all heard, but something in my brain just didn't hold that information. So number 23, our winner is Marsup, and we have got a pair of funky socks there. Can we get a bit more information? They the yarn is in Sherry Iris Sock 4-ply, colourway of Dream of Spring, and Marsup. Let's see if I can find out a little bit more about this knitter. Marsup is Joy, and she lives in the UK. Just wondering, because I know there's a couple of people called Joy who comment on my Instagram stuff, so it could be one of those. So anyway, so Joy, you are the winner, and you are in the UK, so I am sending you this. I hope you like it. It's prettier than it looks on the screen. It is actually really quite pretty. So it's colourway, I don't know, 903, but honestly it's prettier than it looks on there. So get in touch with me, Marsup and or Joy, and I will get those sent out to you, hopefully before I go on holiday. Right, okay, so we have done both of our giveaways. Yay! What's next to show you? So, oh right, I've got a couple of works in progress. So I was going to show this to you last time because I've actually started working on this again, because I was like, right, I really need to get some yarn out of my stash. I really need to work through. And I was like, what projects have I already got on the go that would, you know, if I finish these projects, it would be a good chunk of yarn. And I pulled out a blanket. Oh, isn't it pretty? So this is an Attic 24 design. So the lady who runs those designs is called Lucy. So Lucy of Attic 24, she has a blog website where you can get all her designs from, and then you can buy the yarn packs, because she's just so good at putting together beautiful colours. And this is the proper yarn pack for this blanket, which is called the Springfrost blanket, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So I started working on this again, I think in June. Cast it on, when did I cast it on? I know crochet, it's not really technically called casting on, but I started it in March, and I am using Stylecraft Special DK in all of the colours that the pack came with. And you can usually buy the packs, I think, from Wool Warehouse. I think that's where she has kind of like an affiliate with, I think. Anyway, I have them all in this basket. They didn't all fit in to begin with, but now we're getting down the colours. And I'm about 2/3 of the way through. Now, I've also set myself a goal on this, because my younger daughter, who is at university, said, oh, that's very pretty. And I said to her, would you like it when it's finished? And she said, yes, I think I would. So, and I said to her at the time, I said, because she's only just finished her first year, because she's doing student nursing, and so she's just finished her placement. So I said to her, well, I won't have it finished before you finish for the first year, but hopefully I'll have it finished before you go back for the second year. So that's what I've done. So I've got a sheet printed off with all the colours that you do, like the list, the order that you do them in, because you don't do, there's 15 different colours and you don't do them in the same order each time, they get mixed up. So what I've done is I've gone through and written down the date for each stripe, and it's like if I do one stripe one day, and one stripe is 2 rows, 2 stripes the next day, 1 stripe one day, 2 rows the next day. We're away for 10 days. Funnily enough, I won't be taking the blanket with me when we go away. So I took that 10 days out and worked out I should have it finished by the end of the first week in September, and she goes back about 2 weeks later. Don't know if there's a border for this or not. Actually, well, let's have a look, shall we, while I've got the Ravelry page open. Oh yeah, there is a border. Yeah, so that gives me up to the end of September, the end of the first week of September, something like, I think the 5th of September, I should have all the stripes done, and that will still give me 10 days to get the border done as well. Plus it gives me a little bit of leeway if I get caught behind on this. So yeah, I'm ticking that off each day, doing 1 stripe or 2 stripes a day. So last time you saw this was quite a while ago, and I have got a stitch marker in it. What progress keeper? There's my progress keeper. There. So last time, that was all I had done. And it was quite a few months ago probably. So then I've got all of this done, and whilst they're not all woven in, I have woven in the ends so far up to there. So I have got this many ends to weave in now though, you see. But that's not bad that I have woven in the ends on all of that. So what I might do the next day when it's only one stripe, I might do the one stripe of colour and then weave in some ends for half an hour. But it is so beautiful, isn't it? If you want to know all the different colours, then if you go onto my Ravelry page or just look up the Springfrost blanket, you'll be able to see all the different colours. Oh, and I don't know if you spotted it, there is a mistake which I keep seeing. There is one where I have missed one of these kind of dip stitches, and I keep seeing it. Now I can't find it, now I'm looking for it, but I do keep seeing it. So what I will do is go back, and I'm thinking that I can go in and just crochet that stitch down and weave in the ends of that. I can't see it now, can I? But now that I'm looking for it. But anyway. So that is coming on really, really nicely. Got a target date to have that finished by the end of the first week of September. Well, all the stripes, and then we'll have the border to do. Right, okay. And so, what else? Because I had cast off quite a few things, I felt justified. Well, again, I looked to see what else I had got that needed working on. And I pulled out, I'm hoping this is the right, is this the right one? Yes. I pulled out, no. I pulled out another one of my 12 cast ons. This one again started, I think, in January. And can you see? This is the Rothesay set by Mary Henderson, which is actually in the Knitter magazine, which I've also found out because I've signed up to Kindle Unlimited. Discovered I can get the Knitter magazine on Kindle Unlimited. I have finished my subscription for the Knitter. I'm not sure how many more editions I'm getting, but once I've finished getting the paper copies through, I will be able to look at it still anyway on Kindle Unlimited, so that's really cool. I don't know if you can get back issues or not, I'll have to have a look. Anyway, this is basically the Rothesay set. So I bought the yarn for this in Scotland last year, and there is a video where I did a Edinburgh yarn crawl where I talked about buying the yarn for this. And I cast on the cowl back in January, and my plan at the moment is to get the cowl finished, and then I may do the wrist warmers or the hat by the end in the autumn. But last time, and I'll explain this one in a minute where I realise I've made a mistake, which is really irritating. But last time you saw this, I was just about here on it. I can't see a progress keeper actually. So I am now a lot further. So in fact there is only another couple of charts to do, or another couple of sections to do, I think. And I go on to a bigger needle for some reason as well. Let me just see if I can... There are 51 rows in the chart for the cowl, and I am on row 37. So nearly, made a good chunk on it. However, I did make a mistake on the last row, so I have got to unpick that. And also I couldn't work out why this bit was curling, and then I realised I should have done this as ribbing, and for some reason I didn't do it as ribbing. But it does tell you to pick up the stitches and to do an I I-cord cast off. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is when I pick this up, before I do an I-cord cast off, is I might do 4 or 5 rows of ribbing. Excuse me. And hopefully, and then block it, and we'll see. And you know what, if that ends up rolling up, it's not the end of the world. But yeah, for some reason I missed actually doing that as ribbing. I really don't know why. So that's coming along, and I'm knitting this in Jamison and Smith. Jamison Smith jumper. What's it just called? 2-ply jumper weight. In quite a lot of different colours. I won't go through all the different colours today. Maybe when I've finished it I will. So the plan is to at least get the cowl done and count that as a finished object. I would like to get the hats and little wrist warmers done as well at some point, but I will count it as a finished object for just the cowl to begin with anyway. Because of course another challenge I've set myself, because I love setting myself challenges, is to do 50 knitted items before at the end. 50 knitted items this year on knitted or crochet. 50 projects, finished projects on Ravelry. And so if I count the cowl as one, the wrist warmers as one, and the hat, if I get around to the hat as well, that'll be 3 different projects, which is fair enough, I think. So yeah, so I've made good progress on that. That should be finished fairly quickly actually. Hopefully that will be finished by the next podcast, 2 weeks time. Let's think. Oh, in fact the next podcast might be slightly less than 2 weeks, because I'll try and film on the morning before we go on holiday, I think. So I think those were the only other works in progress I've been working on, but I do have some new cast ons to show you. Of course I do. So the first one, I've cast on 2 garments and 3 pairs of socks. So the first garment that I'll show you is this one, and this is a Vaffel by Kari-Helene Rane. And I bought the pattern and the yarn for this at Yarndale last year, so that was September, end of September last year. Maybe if I get this finished, I'll wear it to Yarndale this year. That'd be quite cool, wouldn't it? So the yarn that I am knitting, using for this is John Arbon's, what do they call it, knit by numbers? Yeah. The John Arbon knit by numbers 4-ply, and it is number 88. Now they were selling this at a reduced price at Yarndale this year because they've changed their base. This one is 100% Falklands merino wool, but now I feel like it's a combination of blue-faced Leicester and merino, because I was watching Ruth Loves to Knit's podcast the other day, and she was using knit by numbers, which she had bought at their open day recently, and I swear she said it was a mixture of blue-faced Leicester and merino, so that's obviously their new. Anyway, so I bought 4 skeins of this because that's what they told me I would need, and possibly I will, but I've only wound up 3 because I'm not convinced I'm going to need 4 skeins. We'll see. So I've wound up 3 skeins of this. Now the gauge, it said, when I put it onto the needles, that they said the gauge I was getting was the right gauge width-wise, but very slightly or too long on the length. And then when I looked at the different sizes I wanted, I decided I was going to go down a needle size and get a slightly tighter gauge, but then knit the extra large size. It should work. That's the plan, because I was worried about the length, because I was quite a long way off on the length, and it specifically mentioned about being right, trying to get your gauge right on the length. So basically it will match the same gauge as this, because anyway, hopefully I've done the maths right. So I've started this. And you've got two options on how you knit that pattern. You can knit it kind of flat, but what you do is you start at the front bottom, knit all the way up, and then go over and then knit all the way back down. Or it does give you instructions on how to do it in the round. So I thought, yeah, I'll do it in the round, and then when you get to the sleeves, and then you knit the front and back separately. So this is what I've got so far. So you start at the bottom. So there's about 30 centimetres for me to knit now, just in stocking stitch. So guess what? That's going to be Kindle knitting, isn't it? Perfect Kindle knitting. And it's relatively loose gauge, so I'm knitting this on 4.5 mils needles. As I say, it said to do it on 5 mil, but I'm actually doing it on 4.5, and I'm quite happy. So it should be relatively lightweight. Colourway is a nice autumnal colour, sort of like a, it is purple, but it's kind of like a plummy purple, I suppose you could say. And I've got it in this beautiful bag, which is from, I think it's Wildwood Stitches, Harris Tweed. I think it was something like Wildwood Stitches. Gorgeous bag. So started on that. Could be slow progress because, as I say, to begin with, it's just lots and lots of stocking stitch, but that will be done in front of the TV or in front of my Kindle while I'm reading. Would you like me to tell you about the books that I read? Let me know below if you want me to. I do read a lot of psychological thrillers at this time of year. I like sort of fairly quick psychological thrillers, sort of fairly easy reads. Anyway, so I've been reading a few of those. So yeah, so I cast that on. Then we have another garment that I cast on. Just bear with a second. I've hardly done anything on this second garment. But it is this vest top. And I bought the yarn for this only in about May time, April or May. So again, trying to get something out of my stash fairly quickly. And the yarn I'm using for this is West Yorkshire Spinners Elements DK in the colourway Seashell, which is 1100. How are we doing on time? Okay. So it's a really pretty pastel-y pink, and this is made up of, I'm getting old, can't read this, 60% lyocell and 40% Falkland Island wool. So that's two that I'm using. The John Arbon is using Falklands wool, and so is this one. Really soft actually. So, but honestly, this is knitted flat in 2 pieces again, I think actually. But when I say it, I've hardly started it. I think I've cast it on and done the first row of rib. That is all I've done on that. So I don't even know if you can count that really as a cast on. That's a bit pathetic, isn't it? But I've got a third garment that I want to get cast on in the next couple of weeks as well, which is in that same box down there. So yeah, kind of got the bug now, the urge to knit a few garments. Well, it'll be sweater weather soon, won't it? And those two are both short sleeves, and then the third one that I want to knit is a long sleeve. Right, okay, so 3 pairs of socks I've got cast on. Have I got all 3 pairs here to show you? I think so. Yes, I have. Right, first pair. So back in January, February time, a friend of mine at my knitting group, she's a crocheter. I think she can knit, but doesn't knit very much, doesn't feel very confident with her knitting, and she loves knitted socks. And she was hinting that she'd really like somebody to knit her pair of socks, and I said yes. So she gave me the yarn to use, which is a Siobhan's Craft yarn. I think the colourway is called Creepy. So it's this like neon green with flecks of orange and pink. And then she also had, well, she had 2 minis of the same. This bright pink. So I think it came with one of the minis, and she bought a second one because she wasn't sure if she'd need 2. I don't think we're going to need 2. Her foot size is quite a similar size to mine. So then I thought, because the colourway was kind of like a Halloween themed, creepy I think it's called, we better do a Halloween themed pattern. So the pattern, I am actually doing a pattern on this one. It is this Handmade Life. It's a free pattern, a little hocus pocus. So these will be ready for her for October is the plan. So it just has a cable pattern down each side of the, well, down one side of the foot and leg. So I think I've done, let me just measure this roughly. I normally do my legs to be 6 inches. This is because I'm at the end of one of the cable repeats, and this is how I measure 6 inches I use. So we are nearly at 6 inches there. That pretty much is. So that will probably be ready now to do the heel. I think that will be long enough. So we will do the heel. The heel flap. I will do heel flap and gusset because that is my preferred heel. I can't really ask my friend anyway what heel she prefers because I don't think she's got any knitted socks. I think this will be her first pair, so we'll see. So yeah, a heel flap and gusset, I can do that in my sleep, so that's what I shall be doing, and have it finished for Halloween for her. To be fair, what I'm doing with that is I'm doing like one repeat of the cable pattern, which is about, I think it's about 16 rows for a full repeat. So I've been doing kind of like a repeat of that and then putting it to one side and working on something else. Yeah. So the second pair of socks I've got on the go is the Socksy and You Know It socks for August. And again, haven't got a lot of progress on this. But firstly, show you what I unwrapped. The sock yarn that I unwrapped for August is by Sable Yarn, which is a company that no longer are dying, unfortunately, and it's called Purple Rane, and this is another one I bought in Yarndale last year. So I feel as well, if I have at least, when I get to Yarndale this year, knowing I have knitted some things from the yarn that I bought last year, again, that means it's okay to buy more this year, doesn't it? Anyway, it's a self-striping, and that's how it will stripe. And the heels, toes and cuffs are also in a purple, a darker purple. I am not 100% sure what yarn this is. It could be a merino bamboo blend from a long time ago, but that's how it's going to go. This dark purple with this, and I have just done a few rows of the rib on this. That's all I've got done on this. Now with this pair, like all my Socksy socks that I've been doing this year, I've been doing all of these as vanilla because they're self-striping, and I love self-striping vanilla socks because I just think the stripes just knit up quickly anyway, and then if you're just doing plain stocking stitch, it just knits up so fast. So I'm knitting these on 2.5mm needles and a 60 stitch sock, and that works for me really well. I don't seem to have a needle minder in here. Okay, so, and that's not even the right box. Yeah, 2.5mm needles. Right, okay, however, somewhere I have got a third pair of socks and I've not brought them down. Oh well, I have got a third pair of socks that actually I found the other day already cast on. So I'll show you these instead. You have to wait and see the other pair. And these are in my yarn. These are on 2.25mm. Yeah. And luxury, my luxury sock yarn. And I think this one was, well, in fact I know this one was Whitby Abbey, which I don't have any more of at the moment. And it's kind of striping slash pooling. But I cast these on a while ago. Cast these on I think in April, So yeah, I found these the other day and thought, oh, I ought to carry on with those. But I have got, oh well, the other pair aren't down here. They can wait. They can wait. And there's a reason why they can wait anyway. So yes, that's the yarn wound up, and it's on one of the ball minders. This one was given to me by the lovely Denise from Dear Designs, and she sells these in her shop. I think she has a Ko-fi shop. So yeah, there we are, a third pair of socks then, but it wasn't the third pair I thought I was going to be showing you. I picked up the wrong bag. It doesn't matter, doesn't matter. We can show you the other pair next time. I'm just wondering where I've put them, that's all. I keep looking up because notifications come through on my iPad. Right, okay. Is that it? I think that is. No, it's not. I was going to show you an acquisition that I should have shown you back in June. But obviously I forgot. So I didn't buy this. This was a gift, and this was a gift from a very, very special person, because this was a gift from a student at school. So last year, my year 11s, a few of them gave me a pair of knitting needles, wooden knitting needles that they had my name engraved on, which was just such a lovely, lovely gift. And this year, one of my students actually bought me some yarn. It's just such a lovely, lovely, thoughtful idea. So it is very chunky. This is like bulky, super bulky, chunky. I don't know what to knit with it. And we have, but look at the colour. It's not just that it's yarn, but look at the colour of it. So we've got 2 balls of it in this massive chunky lilac, and 1 ball in silver. Now what I am wondering is if I can think of something to knit to go in my classroom. Maybe a cushion cover? I don't know, because it's so chunky. You need a 19mm needle, and there's only 60 meters on here. So what have I got? I've got 180 meters. I don't know that would be, and it has got some knots in it, I can see that. I don't know what I could knit with this. I'm going to have a think. If you've got any ideas, but maybe something, like I say, that I could put in my classroom. Maybe some big chunky bunting? Don't know. Anyway, if you've got some ideas, let me know, because I think it would be quite fun if it was something that went in my classroom. Bear in mind I'm a secondary teacher. Yeah, so I've got about 180 meters of very super, super chunky. It says you can make in blankets, throws, scarves and more. So I don't know if there'd be enough to make a blanket, but maybe some kind of bunting, maybe some kind of cushion cover for my chair. If you've got any ideas, please let me know, because I think I want to use it, and I'd really like to use it for something in my classroom. I mean, it's going to be 100% acrylic. I can't see. Yeah, 100% acrylic. Weight 300 grams. Anyway, if you've got any ideas, please, please, please let me know. And I think that is it. I don't think I've bought anything else. Oh yes I have, but I haven't got that down here either, so that's going to have to wait till next time as well. So next time I will definitely be showing you some new yarn that I've dyed, which is basically the new pair of socks that I've started, isn't that? And some yarn that I have bought, and I bought that yarn from a shop that I went to at the weekend. No, not at the weekend, on Monday, yesterday. And I'll tell you more about that next time as well. I think that'll do for now, don't you? I will see you in a couple of weeks, less than a couple of weeks. And if you're a prize winner, don't forget to get in touch with me. Let me have your address so I can send those prizes out to you. Thanks very much. Thank you for watching. Bye.